All right, guys, we're starting our How to Take Down a Bigger Opponent series, starting with the final boss, Darrell. This guy is the perfect example of a worst case scenario when you're on the mat and trying to do takedowns. And being that he's a bigger person, or when you're going against bigger people, doesn't really change the foundations of wrestling. It just makes all these principles hyper important, right? So whenever you're engaging with a big person, what I want to do is get behind them. Right? And that's the same with anybody your size or smaller too, but it's hyper important against somebody who's much bigger and athletic. All right, so I want to get behind them. And the main offenses I'm going to have available to me in doing that are 2-on-1s and sweep singles, right? Because in both of these techniques, I'm ending up behind the person and I'm getting them to a place where I'm using more of my appendages against one of theirs. It's the same theme of jiu-jitsu. We're just seeing it reveal itself on the feet, okay? So one of the very best tools in doing this is a sweep single. And you can hit your sweep single a couple different ways. There's a couple different ideologies to go behind it. We talked about gaining inside position, that being especially important on somebody bigger than you. What we wanna do here is not hang out in the tie. We wanna give the big man motion to react to and then immediately fire off our attack and get behind them as soon as possible. As soon as you can do that, the better off you're gonna be. In the sweep single, it's always there, right? It's not like a slide by or an arm drag where I need a specific setup. He's always gonna be on two legs, so I can always lunge to that if I give him the right motion to get a proper entry. So what we're gonna do is be in a good stance and we're gonna enter in and gain inside position immediately, all right? Being that they're bigger, I actually can get inside position a little bit easier, right? I'm smaller, I can fit in, I can just pummel inside a little bit easier. So as we make contact, I'm gonna go shopping cart tie on the armpits, okay? And what I wanna do is push, pull, head tap, enter. So I'm gonna push with my lead leg side in his shoulder. So I'm gonna push, pull, get that leg coming towards me, and I'm gonna head tap. That's the last layer of motion to get him reacting. Now he's thinking north as I go south, all right? And now I'm behind my opponent. We're going slow for display purposes, but as I'm swinging around, what's likely is that Darrell's gonna be sprawling. So as he sprawls and catches a knee, my goal is to cut the corner so much on my entry that I end up at least on the side of him, okay? And there's two main ways a jiu-jitsu person, as soon as we get to this position in wrestling, I would go all the way behind, shelf the leg and finish. But in jiu-jitsu, he's either gonna turn towards me and guard here, or he's gonna step around and start looking for triangles and whatnot. So as I'm coming over top, he might go here, and this is where he's gonna have more opportunities, okay? So this is the finish that I want to avoid. And how I avoid this on my sweep single, as soon as I catch the corner, I need to capture the ankle, the inside ankle, so he can no longer face me. If I don't capture this inside ankle, he might just swivel this and then start facing me and sprawling on me, start looking for front headlocks, all this bad stuff, okay? So I need to capture the inside ankle with my knee, and then as soon as I capture it, I need to pull his knee in and push my shoulder out, right? There's this shearing motion here. So I'm locking his hip in place so he can't step over, and his only option then is to pull guard facing me. This is the first place we want to get to, all right? And we'll talk about finishing once we're here. I want to make sure that he sits into me, and as he sits into me, I'm not going to just let this position solidify, let him gain his guard. I just captured a really nice position that I can keep him moving. For him, what's the most annoying thing people do from here? What's the thing that the big guy wants the least? Is continuing the position, right? We just used motion to create our setup to get here. Now we're gonna continue to use motion to advance the position. So as he sits, we have this leg, we're looking to capture the other leg and we're going C-clamp grip underneath and we wanna roll him over his shoulder. As he rolls, we're gonna look to capture the back or gain a front headlock. Because look guys, motion is your best friend in wrestling on the feet in general. Against somebody same size or smaller, it becomes hyper important against somebody big, okay? So we don't wanna just take them down. If we have an opportunity to advance the position into a greater position from our finish, we wanna look to take that every single time, okay? So one last time. When I approach someone bigger, I wanna make sure that my eye line is between their eye line and their shoulders, right? I don't wanna be all the way up here. I'm smaller, right? I wanna maintain a stance that puts me in a place where I can defend their leg attacks and also defend snap downs, right? If I get too low on a big person, I get too susceptible, right? His collar tie means a lot more than somebody my size. So I wanna be able to posture, right? That's one of the small advantages you have on the feet against bigger people is that you can posture a little bit higher because being that they have a height advantage, they have to level change that much greater to get underneath you. So take advantage of that, conserve energy, and stand as tall as your opponent will allow, right? So I'm hovering just below his eye line, but not below his shoulder line. I swim inside. We're gonna pop that shoulder, their lead side leg, pop, pull, head tap, swing to that leg. Putting pressure in the entire time. Capture the ankle as he covers. He goes to retain his guard. We're gonna C-clamp, drive, 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 and you might not get the back. You may miss it, but at least you're up at the front headlock, which again, a rare position where we're gonna have an advantage on the big guy, spine being the longest lever on the human body. We wanna be at the end of that, bearing down on him, making him carry our weight. So that is how you hit a sweep single, and those are the key details to remember when you're hitting it against someone who's much bigger than you. If you wanna add 2 more takedowns to your arsenal off that you can use to chain with your sweep single, make sure to grab our free mini course in the comments and descriptions below, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Adam with Wrestling University, reminding you to always start standing.